All right, a lot to get to on today's San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you out there had a fantastic weekend. On the show today, 49ers just signed a tackle in NFL free agency. John Lynch from the NFL owners meetings revealed who is the leader in the clubhouse to start at quarterback in 2023, but also said there could be a three-way quarterback competition. Lamar Jackson requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens, and San Francisco plans to pick up the fifth-year option for Brandon Aiyuk, what that means for him. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you want shows every single day on the Niners. That's what we provide for you all year round. So lock us in. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, just surpassed 80,000. It's the 49ers Report. I'm Chase Senior. All right, let's begin with the 49ers' most recent acquisition. John Lynch from the owners' meetings in Phoenix saying that San Francisco has signed swing tackle Matt Pryor in free agency. Pryor, a sixth-round pick by the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018 at TCU, spent a couple of years at Philadelphia, couple of years with the Indianapolis Colts, comes to the Niners with a lot of experience. 24 starts in his NFL career. 6 of those starts have come at right tackle. He's played in 60 games throughout his career, and he can really fill in and play all along that offensive line. He can play right tackle. He's a swing tackle who can also play left tackle. He's played right guard. He's played left guard. The only position that he hasn't played along the offensive line is at center, but San Francisco is set there. Last year for the Colts, 241 pass blocking snaps, no sacks allowed, 8 pressures according to Pro Football Focus. John Lynch did make it sound like, as of right now, obviously without the NFL draft having taken place, that it would be Matt Pryor and Colton McKivitz potentially competing to start at right tackle to replace Mike McGlinchey. To me, if you ask me about that scenario, it's not ideal considering the 49ers' struggles along the offensive line in the NFL playoffs, especially against some really good defensive lines against the Dallas Cowboys and against the Philadelphia Eagles. But keep in mind here that San Francisco can still select a right tackle in the NFL draft. Some good ones could be available in the third round, where they have 3 picks right now, 99, 101, and 102. You could also package some of those third rounders and maybe some other draft selections to move up into the second round to get the tackle of their choosing. I think that's the smartest path when you combine that scenario with some of the tackles that are still available in free agency. Does the signing of Pryor signal that the 49ers aren't going to make any other moves at right tackle in free agency? Yeah, potentially. We'll see what the market dictates. But right now, right tackle for the 49ers, probably my biggest concern on San Francisco's roster on a team that is pretty stacked heading into 2023. So with that, before we get to some interesting nuggets from Lynch on the quarterback position for the Niners, let's ask you this poll question here. Do you think the 49ers are still the team to beat in the NFC West? Because what the Seahawks have done this offseason, what they did in the 2022 NFL Draft, pretty impressive. And they're bringing back Bobby Wagner, as the 49ers cannot shake having to take him on 2 times per year. So are the 49ers still the team to beat in the NFC West? Give me a Y for yes, N for no. You look at the betting odds right now. San Francisco, the favorites at minus 160 to win the divisional crown. The Seahawks at plus 400. From John Lynch's press conference from the NFL owners meetings, we talked Matt Pryor. Let's talk quarterback now. He said that Brock Purdy is, quote, the leader in the clubhouse to start for the 49ers in 2023 under this caveat. Of course, if he's healthy. Brock Purdy with him. Obviously, massive concerns coming off the UCL injury. There was a picture of him that surfaced over the weekend with this massive brace on his elbow, which pretty much has his arm deadlocked in a position like this. Lynch said that the 49ers still pretty hopeful that Purdy will be able to throw and practice in training camp. I see that as very, very unlikely considering the severity of this injury. They remain hopeful, though. John Lynch with this exact quote. I think that Brock has earned the right with the way that he played. He's probably the leader in the clubhouse at that. If we were to line up, he'd probably take that first snap. Now, you can color me skeptical, right? Brock Purdy's injury, really severe. You have to be really cautious with him. He has to be cautious with that injury. But it makes sense why, if he's healthy, why he would be the guy. 49ers offense put up massive numbers when Purdy was the starter. They averaged more than 30 points per game. They did not lose until the NFC Championship game. Purdy, as a starter, 8-1 in the regular season combined with the playoffs. That loss include the NFC Championship game because he was the starter, even though he went out very, very early in that game. But even if you add the Dolphins' relief effort in there for Purdy, he basically went, 9-0? Filling in and as the starter, played a really, really good football combined in the regular season as well as in the playoffs. 16 touchdowns, 3 picks during that stretch. What's interesting here too, though, is that Lynch did say because of Purdy's injury that it could be a 3-way quarterback competition between Purdy whenever he does come back. And he probably said that knowing that Purdy's not going to be back until later in the process. But Purdy, Sam Darnold, as well as Trey Lance. Now, it's not really an indictment on Trey Lance. He just has to prove that he can be a little bit more consistent and that he can actually stay healthy because so far in his NFL career, he has not been able to stay healthy. Now for Purdy, let's circle back to that, right? Won a lot of games, played pretty well. He had command of Kyle Shanahan's offense, and I think it's pretty telling when the players speak glowingly of him like they have. Like he came in, he had command of the huddle, he was able to make quick reads, quick decisions. He was very accurate with the football. The 49ers offensive production was the best that it had been going all the way back to the Steve Young era when they were averaging more than 30 points per game when Purdy was the team starting quarterback. The offense hit a different gear with Purdy as compared to Jimmy Garoppolo. You cannot deny that. Now, you can say that because of Purdy being in there, there was more continuity. There was more consistency. The team started to play well as a whole. Kyle Shanahan hopped in his bag. Yeah, all those things can be true. But you also have to look at the eye test, right? And Brock Purdy did play extraordinarily well for San Francisco, considering the circumstances. Pressure cooker environment, in the heat of a playoff push. Was the team around him very good? Yes. But he took care of business, right? And for Mr. Irrelevant to do that as the final pick in the NFL draft, he impressed a lot of people. The mobility, the pocket feel, being able to extend plays, some of those things you cannot teach, and Brock Purdy was able to flourish there. All right, 2 more storylines to get to here. The Lamar Jackson trade request, and keep in mind, I'm a little bit under the weather. That's why I'm doing this show from home today. If you can feel it in the voice, I'm kind of out of breath too. It was a rough weekend for me. But the Lamar Jackson trade request. Tweeted out this morning he's requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens because the Ravens did not oblige in giving him a contract that he felt as though he was worth. Now, there's still a possibility that Lamar does return to Baltimore, but here's what's interesting. If the Ravens do give in to Lamar Jackson's trade request, the terms of the trade would not automatically be those aforementioned 2 first-round picks that we talked about earlier on this offseason, as would be the case if a team signed him to that offer sheet that we did talk about. If Lamar signs the franchise tag tenure, then any terms can be agreed to, that coming from Field Yates. With what John Lynch said about the Niners quarterback situation, then bringing in Sam Darnold, there being some incentives in that Sam Darnold contract where there could be elevations to it with the money paid to him based on performance, based on playing time, based on wins, and with what John Lynch said today about them being content with a 3-quarterback competition of Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, and Sam Darnold. I do not think that San Francisco is going to trade for Lamar. Couple of reasons, right? I think that they are very worried and concerned about Lamar Jackson not finishing the last 2 years because of injuries. It's what you would have to give up to bring in Lamar Jackson. Premier players, premier draft capital. You're talking about the likes of like a Nick Bosa and or Brandon Aiyuk and draft compensation. And with Lamar, he might want $50 million per year on his new contract. And I don't think that San Francisco is in a position to pay him that, nor do I think they would want to pay him that. So I don't think the 49ers are going to trade for Lamar Jackson, but this is one of the biggest storylines across the National Football League. That's why we're talking about it here on the show. Lastly, the 49ers, this coming out of the NFL owners' meetings, they do plan to exercise the 5th-year option on Brandon Aiyuk. You can exercise these 5th-year options on first-round picks. That's what the Niners did for this season with Nick Bosa. That's why he's going to make about $18 million. Now, he was selected so highly in the first round. That's why the price tag was what it was and is going to be what it's going to be for Brandon Aiyuk, selected later in the first round. But still, if they exercise his fifth-year option, the deadline to do that is May 1st, if I'm not mistaken. That means that $14 million for Brandon Aiyuk in 2024 becomes fully guaranteed. That's good for San Francisco because that means that Brandon Aiyuk is under team control for the next 2 years. This year on his rookie salary, and then next year as well on that fifth-year option. And for Aiyuk, one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL, I think he's a borderline top 10 guy. He might already be a top 10 guy. If he was featured more heavily in an offense that was not run-centric and run-first, I think that he could be a 1,300, 1,400 per year type of wide receiver. He's not even the first option in this offense, but last year he emerged as the 49ers' number one wide receiver. Clean route runner, excellent footwork, a guy who you can use goal line to goal line. He's not just a guy who you utilize from the 20 to the 20, red zone, and then 20 to 20. He's fantastic. He can pick up yards after the catch. You can use him across the middle, out routes, vertical guy, good speed, good pull-away speed, good at picking up yards after the catch. He can go up and get it, plays a little bit bigger than his size, and each year that he's been in the NFL, he's done what you want to see from every single player. Get better and better and better. And for him to be under team control as a number one type of wide receiver for the next 2 years in this Super Bowl win now mode, you can continue to groom him with your young quarterbacks, whether that be Trey Lance or Brock Purdy. Important for this football team. All right. Hope you bared with me. A little bit sick and under the weather here on a Monday, but we're on the comeback here on the 49ers Report. Appreciate all of you for joining us. Let me know what you think about the show down in the comment section. If anything happens today, we'll, of course, keep you up to date with anything here on the show, and hopefully I'm back in the studio tomorrow, and we're going live on the Niners Report.